Do you know somebody who won't wear their seatbelt? Well, if they won't listen to their cars dinging, maybe you should add some of your own.
Ding, 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 ding.
Go ahead,
ding,
kids. Chime
ding,
in.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hey, you on the street, tell this guy to wear a seatbelt.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep, it's okay to speak up, because you know what? You could save their life. Learn more at buckleupva.com. A message from the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles.
Welcome to Talking Mopars, episode number 146. This is a replay of the live-streamed podcast that I recorded Friday night with my friends Bud Kleppe, Tommy Marauder, Blake Andermann, Matt Monroe, and Jonny Mopar. We talked Mopars, but more specifically, we recapped Dodge's recent announcements and reveals from Speed Week regarding the push towards electrification in EVs, the death of the Hemi, the Dodge Hornet, the Drag Pack, and of course, the Dodge Charger Daytona SRT Banshee EV muscle car. It was a fun, uncensored, and unfiltered conversation, and this is just part one. So without further ado, if you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I am your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
We are live on another exciting edition of Talking Mopars Friday Night Live. Tonight, I've got some friends joining me. Bud Kleppe is the first one joining us. We should have some more people showing up here in a little bit, which is fine because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Bud and I did not plan the lighting situation. At least I didn't, but it works. We're here tonight to talk about the recent announcements from Dodge during Speed Week. They announced a bunch of stuff. A lot of controversy has been surrounding all the announcements, and we're going to talk about it. This is going to be uncensored, unfiltered. We're going to pull no punches. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to keep it real. You know, we're Mopar enthusiasts. That's what we do. And I know that so many people, all Mopar enthusiasts around the world, are either excited, pissed off, or some combination of the two. I'm kind of a combination. I don't know about you, Bud.
Live. Sorry, Chris. I was doing a Instagram live to try to get people over here on that side. So I muted myself to.
No worries.
People over here.
You keep doing that. While Bud is doing that, I'm going to go ahead. I really want to give everybody that comes on the chat tonight a chance to talk, and Lord knows I love to talk. So I'm going to go ahead. I took some notes because I wanted to get through my thoughts, and then since Bud's the only one here right now, we can talk to him and get his thoughts because I know he's got a lot to contribute to this conversation. So my main focus tonight, and hi guys in the chat, thanks for joining us. My main focus tonight is on the Charger Daytona SRT Banshee. So my first impression, it wasn't exactly what I expected or what I wanted, but if I was to give a rating to the car overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 based on an electric muscle car from Dodge and what I would have expected. So some good things. You know, finally we have a two-door Charger. It's what we've always wanted. I know a lot of people were pissed when the four-door came out, but one thing that some people just don't seem to understand is that who knows, if we had a two-door Charger in the beginning, we may not have had a two-door Challenger, and there may not have been enough room in the lineup for that car, and it may not have made sense. So as far as, you know, the two-door thing, I'm happy they finally did it. So it's like Dodge listens to a little bit of what the enthusiasts say, and eventually they'll make it happen. Kind of like the convertible. They announced a partnership with a company down in Florida. I can't remember the name of the company. You remember the name of the company, Bud?
Drop Top Customs or something?
Yeah, something like that. They finally are giving you an aftermarket option through the dealership, I believe, to have a convertible Challenger. So how many years did that take? You know what I mean? So right. They do listen to a point, but I'm definitely happy that they finally came out with a two-door Charger. I was hoping personally for more of a 68 to 70 Charger look and body. What I feel like when I look at that car, when I look at the Banshee, I see such strong cues from the first generation Charger, which really isn't a bad thing. I was looking at that roof line, and just based on the fact that it's a lift back, and if it had a deck lid, it would be so short. That's another styling thing that I don't really like about the car. I wish the roof line was a little bit more 68 to 70 esque, and that the deck lid was a little bit longer, because I feel like it's a little stubby in the back. The front, I think they did a great job on it. I do like the 4 bucket seats. So this is another styling cue from the first generation Chargers, the 4 bucket seats with the seats in the back that fold down. I thought that was cool. I'm just not a big fan of the lift back thing. That's just me, but I see where they're going. I think they're leaning into the utility thing a little bit too much for me, but they're the ones that sell the cars. I'm not. So
as a Magnum owner, I love the lift gate idea, lift back.
Yeah.
As that it's utility. It makes the car such a dual purpose car.
It does.
It gives you so many options of storage and haul and stuff and all that jazz. I mean, it helps tremendously.
It definitely does, and I understand that aspect. But when I was looking at the styling of it, I was like, God, I wish it actually had a deck lid. And if you look at the roof line, you can tell that they were almost they wanted to make a 4-door without making a 4-door. They wanted to make a very large 2-door. So with the styling, I was like, okay, so they had to make some sacrifices, and so I understand why they did it. It could be a lift back. I don't mind that. I just wish that the deck was a little bit, I don't know. I wish it was a little bit longer. But that's just me being super picky. I think the front grille is cool. I also, at first I wasn't sure what to think about that front spoiler, but the more I looked at it, I was like, that's kind of a cool feature. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. As far as styling, I think they did a pretty good job on the front end. I know a lot of people are complaining about the hood, but I mean, I didn't find a need to complain that much. And we have to remember, this is a concept car. Who knows how much is going to change?
The
exhaust. This has been a topic of discussion lately. I had said that I would be pissed if they came out with a fake artificial exhaust. And from what I've read, it's actually technically functional in the sense that it is actual noise that the propulsion system on this car produces. It's just amplified. If that's the case and it's not 100% artificial, okay.
I give 50% credit then for that, because I still don't like it. I think it's weird.
It's definitely weird. It's 100% weird. If someone were to ask me, well, would you rather have it be quiet? Gosh.
I mean, it's hard pressed, but this is like, the transition from horse to car, right?
Yeah.
This would be like the first car, it drops horse shit as you're driving down the street.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
And credit to Dodge. I know what they were trying to do. They said, if we're going to go into EV, we have to think of a lot of the things that we would get knocked on. And I know that they had to have seen everybody saying, oh, there's no sound. You don't get any, you don't get that feel. So they did what they could. The thing will shift, which is kind of ridiculous for an electric car, but they're trying to make it as cool and muscly as they can for what it is supposed to be. And for that, I applaud Dodge. They're trying to, take what they would expect an enthusiast to say, and they're trying to create something that will satiate us. I don't think, it's, we can sit here and talk shit all day about what we don't like about the car. There's a lot of people that love it. And no knock on them. Everybody's got their own taste. If I had to choose between that car and a Tesla, the only reason why I would even consider the Tesla is because it's so fast, the Plaid.
Right.
And from what I understand, but we can get a little bit into this later, they benchmarked this car against a Hellcat. Now, I would expect you to be faster than a Hellcat with this muscle car, especially if you're going EV, it better be faster than a Hellcat. We shouldn't even have to talk about that. What they need to talk about is how they're going to beat a Tesla Plaid. Because if I go out, their branding and marketing is, performance made us do it. And Elon's over there going, oh yeah, show me what you got. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I think there's two things on that. One, all they talked about was Hellcat. It was interesting they didn't say it was faster or quicker than a Demon. I think the Demon is they're still like, no, that's a special car. We don't compare anything against that. Nothing, we're not going to judge numbers against that because we don't want to have this new car be faster than the Demon, which the Demon was supposed to be the mythical top beast or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a Dodge press conference at Woodward, which is a union city with union jobs. They're not going to bring up Tesla, which is non-union, non-Detroit, out of the system car to compare it against. And it faster than the Mustang Mach-E, well, it better fucking be.
Yeah, for sure.
So I as I think about it more, even though they compared it and said they were benchmarking against the Hellcat, it made sense why they wouldn't bring up Tesla or Lucid, because that's not. If you're going out and shopping for a Tesla, you're probably not shopping the Dodge, 100%. Whatever, because you're buying this car with Bitcoin you sold, right? I mean, it's a different demographic. So I kind of get it. It did worry me at first. I was like, man, oh man, if they're, why are they not talking about the fastest electric car? Why are they comparing this against a Hellcat? But then it's like, oh, everyone at this press conference is into Dodges.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So he's speaking to the audience basically. So I'm that one. I'm kind of I give him a little bit of a pass on because
I would have never expected. I would have never expected them to say Tesla, but I probably the hairs on the back of my neck probably would have stood up if they would have went up there and said, there's some electric vehicles out there that are very, very fast, and Dodge didn't want to be second place, so we came in and did what we do best, and now we are the kings of electric vehicles. That would have been a hell of an entrance, and I would have been like, oh shit, they did it. They built the fastest, but we have to understand, Elon isn't going to go down without a fight.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like if he mentions Elon, that's like full court press of Elon. I'm going to put the Falcon 9 rockets on the back of the next Tesla, and you won't be nearly as fast. Yeah,
the Twitter war would have been amazing, but
oh god, it would be great.
I hope they're talking about direct connection, 9 levels of performance or whatever. I really wish we had more of an idea of what they're talking about. I wish we had more of an idea.
They missed a great window there with 9 levels. They should have just made it 11 windows, 11 levels, because you got to turn it up to 11. That would have just.
Yeah.
Now that's something that Elon would have done. He would have made that little joke during that deal. But we got Tommy Marauder in the house. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
So another thing that I know it was already talked about in the chat a little bit. Speaking of which, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We will open the chat later on this evening to anybody that wants to jump on and give their 2 cents. I want everybody to know that this is an open platform, and unfiltered and uncensored. So if you got some shit to talk, by all means. But one thing that was mentioned in the chat that I thought was funny and that I agree with is that... where's that noise coming from? What happened there? Is the wheels. I think the wheels are absolutely hideous. And some people love them. Some people like me just are not impressed with the wheels at all. But my plea to Dodge is that, please let us have the Hemi crates, if anything. I don't want them to kill the Hemi completely. I don't think they will. But if they were to kill off the crate option for Hemis, I would be devastated, because I think that will still keep the enthusiast spirits up if they keep them around. But as far as everything else, that's pretty much my piece on the Charger Daytona SRT Banshee, which just happens to be the longest fucking name of a car I've ever heard in my life.
No. You got No. The 2020 Dodge Charger SRT Daytona wide body, 50th anniversary edition.
Okay. Second place.
That said that on the sticker.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be that gold one, does it?
No, that was the blue and the blue one. I actually made a fake window sticker when I went to a Dodge event and slapped it on the car, and the name went past the side of the window sticker.
Oh, that's funny. My thoughts on everything else. The Hornet, there's not much left to say about that. It's an Alfa Romeo Tonale or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
With a Dodge mask on it. So, for me, I could sit here and talk shit about the car, but I'd just be hating on it. It's not in a segment that I'm interested in. I don't give a shit about crossovers. As far as I'm concerned, I thought the Durango was just fine, but crossover is a different segment, and I get it. Dodge is a business. I keep seeing people that are somewhat in defense of Dodge. They keep saying and talking shit to people about not knowing how the auto industry works and shit. I get it. They're out to sell cars, and that's a segment that they can capitalize on. But what's funny, and I know, Bud, you've been seeing these articles, that there's some like disturbances within the FCA headquarters between Alfa Romeo and Dodge. Those articles are funny. If you guys get a chance, look up some of those articles about how not happy with Dodge Alfa Romeo is, because they kind of took the steam away from their crossover. But so the Hornet, they're trying, and if it's going to be the baddest crossover, more power to Dodge. Not my thing.
The logo is pretty cool.
I will say, shit, man, they're trying to win us over with the little badge, which, hey, it is pretty damn cool.
They know their audience, though. I mean, they
do.
Hey, custom badges sells cars. I mean, clearly it's what it does. Tommy wouldn't have bought his car if it didn't have that cool B with the racing helmet on it. I mean,
that was it for me. That was it.
I call it the 1320. I mean, as a drag racer, what more would you want? What I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
The other thing was the drag pack. I think that's awesome. I think it's out of a lot of people's wheelhouses, but putting myself in a drag racer's shoes, I think it's awesome that they're offering that. What's even more awesome, in my opinion, is the $8,000 body in white. Now, my big question about that is, are these directed towards the racers, or is this a car that you could possibly build from the ground up and have a VIN attached to it that you can drive on the street? I think it's directed towards the race cars.
The body in white should not have a VIN, and that's not necessarily a new thing. They've had them.
Have they?
Right.
I thought it was just a drag pack thing.
No,
really?
You had to know people to get the body in white.
Right. It was available, as was the drag pack. Over the years, in many forms, you could buy them less engine and transmission, with engine and transmission. And those were the earlier, the 6.1 versions and whatnot. But the body in white, I think they did drop the price, though.
I thought I heard him say under $8,000.
It's like $79.95 or something like that. So
I want to see how many of those actually sell for that money.
I'm in line.
To build a drag car from the ground up. I think it's pretty damn cool. I wasn't expecting them to have VINs and be streetable. I always thought that the bodies in white, because I knew they existed, but I always thought it was like a factory sponsored drag racing program. I didn't realize you could just go off the street and just order one.
Well, that's what I kind of mean. You kind of had to know the right people and be in the right circles to get the bodies in white. You had to, be in that racing circle and be somewhat known. It's nobody coming into the dealership trying to say, I want to buy a body in white. You're barking up the wrong tree. But I think the body in white's more for not necessarily building a car from the ground up, but it's to fix the car that you rolled or put into the wall hard. I think it's more to fix the car that you busted up bad racing than it is necessarily to build a new one.
Interesting.
My idea is exactly that, is the body in white, and over the course of the next few years, once other projects are finished, is a wrecked 1320.
Yeah.
To put it into that shell that has no other added weight.
Yeah.
Just to see what it would do.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild.
I love that idea. That's cool.
Don't steal it. That's my idea.
Hey, I don't got that kind of money. That's your game, buddy.
That's a long term, because I'm working I got that truck coming up too that we're working on. So.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I can't wait for that one to piss people off.
It's gonna piss a lot of people. I love it.
Picking it up. We're actually picking it up tomorrow morning.
No shit.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. 'Cause one of my guys at the shop needs a transmission for his daily, which I have in that truck. So we're gonna jump in and start ripping everything out. And,
That was an OBS, right? An old body style.
no, it's a new body style.
It's a new body style. Oh, okay. So
Tommy,
New
for
style
people
Chevy
listening, you
with a
should
head.
probably tell what that truck project is.
yeah, tell them what the truck
So
project is.
it's a 2002 GMC that I've owned since I first joined the Army. Bought it new, drove it up until 2017. It's got, I don't know, 1.5 million miles on it. Honestly, the best vehicle that I've owned long term. It still runs a factory serpentine belt. The 4.8 liter still starts on the first crank. Great truck. So it got parked in 2017 with plans to do something. So I have a Demon long block. So
Hell yeah.
what we're going to do is transplant a Demon long block in there with a big turbo 400 trans, full cage, and just go to town with it. Now the cool part is on the Chevy side, it's going to piss people off because it's a one of like 2000 and some built of the second year Regency sport trucks.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm sorry, it's an 02. I think that was the first year. So it's the Regency sport truck package, and then they transitioned later into the RST as Regency closed down. So fairly rare for what it is. Those trucks are actually going for pretty good money right now. But it's a very sentimental vehicle to me. Longest vehicle I've ever owned. My daughter, before she passed, absolutely adored the truck. So when I parked it in 17, just before she passed, it was, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And as parts have come along and the idea, and the 1320 is kind of getting to where we want it. I'm going to do something different in the old school tradition of hot rodding. It's
Hell yeah.
Work with what you got on hand. So
The opposite of an LS swap, and I'm on board 100%. I love the idea of that. I just have a few more quick things to say, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this whole thing. The return of the popular colors, the high impact ones in particular, I think that's awesome. The convertible Challenger, it's about time they figured out a way to make that happen. Bringing back the Hellcat Durango, I don't know why it ever went away. Those are amazing. And then lastly, my favorite part of all week long was the carbon fiber bodies for the 70 Charger. They announced the Roadrunner, which I'm assuming is a 70, and the 70 CUDA. And I did think it was funny because during the press conference, Kaniskis mentioned when he revealed the car that they went totally 5150. And what was funny about that is my friends over at Mopars 5150, when they had the sell-off in Georgia, it was a pretty cool moment because the rumor floating around was that Speedcore was there, and there they were with their trailer, and they bought those cars. So those cars are what they were using, well, what I can assume that they used to build these carbon fiber cars. So I thought that was pretty cool. It did kind of, it's like they censored him out. He said, we went totally 5150, and I'm sure he cussed. I think that's what happened. But when he said 5150, I was like, huh. And Speedcore, I was like, there's a correlation there. So I think it was a subtle shout out to my friends over at Mopars 5150. So shout out to those guys. Hell of a lot of project cars in Georgia. So Speedcore had a nice amount of cars to pick from. And they picked some pretty decent ones. The Roadrunner they picked, I was looking at, and I was saying, damn, this would be a great Superbird clone, which I don't know. I feel like a carbon fiber Superbird is on the way too. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine they're going to go that route too.
That'd be pretty cool.
I heard they're pretty affordable too. only like 200,000.
Yeah,
is what I heard.
Depends on who you are.
I was going to say, so they're going to release, I guess Speedcore already has, but
right.
They do the accents for the modern Challengers and Chargers, your front splitter, your side skirts, your rear diffuser. And I absolutely, that's my biggest gripe about the modern Challenger. I hate the plastic on the sides. So Carbon fiber is more sturdy. So I happened to pop on their website the other day and check out the prices. I mean, you're talking like 11 grand to put those 3 pieces on a modern Challenger.
Yeah, it's one thing I can say is that these are licensed products and they are going to be of the highest quality, but you are going to pay for that high quality. And when you're talking about how much it costs to build them a car, or get them to build you a car, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So for a carbon fiber body, I'm sure it's going to be well into the 6 figures. So out of my price range, but cool nonetheless.
Yeah, the roof for the carbon fiber.
Hold on, Bud, you're breaking up, dude. What happened?
Can you hear me any better now?
A little bit. I think that. Hold on a second, Bud. Oh, that's weird. It's a little choppy. That's weird.
Strange. Anyway, $200,000 is the number.
200,000. Yeah, that's
the number I heard. Accurate, but that's 200,000 for those. But you also understand what they have to do in order to get those, how they make them, the autoclave to fit a whole car to bake those giant pieces.
Oh yeah,
not cheap.
I heard
cheap equipment.
I heard through the grapevine that they have some of the most top of the development, research and development equipment that you can possibly have. Stuff where you can scan the body of, like, I can go buy a shell of a car like they did, scan the whole car, and then through their autoclave, build this car. Essentially, the technology that I had heard being talked about was so over and above my head. I was like, oh, no wonder they build the coolest shit. It's crazy. But do me a favor, sign out and then sign back in. I something's going on with your audio. Right, I don't know. Tommy, while Bud's away, I really want to give you a platform to talk about your charitable organization, Slicks of Hope. Right. So here's your platform, buddy. Tell the audience about Slicks of Hope.
Okay, so for those not familiar, I run a small charity raising money for pediatric cancer research through St. Baldrick's, a group that I've fundraised for since 2016 with my daughter prior to her passing. After I lost her in 2017, I've continued. And in 2018, we opened our own fund under them called Slicks of Hope, in which we campaign our 1320, my wife Carly and I. And now with full custody, actually, she just went to bed, my eldest daughter, Brooklyn, to raise money for pediatric cancer research. We will be doing our 3rd annual and our 2nd so far with Holly Mopar. Holly's been a big sponsor of ours. Great people over there. They've just been a huge help, along with Mr. Norms and Larry Weiner over there at Mr. Norms. I'm trying to think who else. Gosh, we got JMS on board now. Testing a product for them. I got the guys at the shop. So I currently manage American Muscle Performance in Pompano Beach, Florida, for all your Mopar muscle needs. If you're a GM guy, we can help you out too. So got some strong talent there with my guys Jeremy and Brandon, and then unfortunately our GM tech Frankie. But they are Brandon's actually prepping the car this weekend, so getting everything dialed in. We'll do the event. I want to say Moparty's the 16th, 17th.
Yeah, it's over my anniversary and my daughter's birthday, so
yeah, it's that weekend.
Yep. So 16th, 17th, and 18th, we'll be up at Bowling Green.
Awesome.
We were actually going to do kind of an early kickoff, and initially we were going to be in Detroit today, but Carly, that's why Carly's not joining me right now. She's actually already in bed. We're going through in vitro right now.
Oh,
so
okay.
she's feeling like garbage right now and just super tired and beat up. So they bumped all our appointments up to this week instead of next week. So we skipped Detroit. So Mo Party is going to be a big deal. We're going to, if everything goes according to plan, we'll be kicking off a little something new with the car that hasn't been seen yet.
Nice.
Just depends on if everything comes in, and you know how that goes. But we're going to turn the wick up on it a little bit, talk some shit, and set up some grudge races.
Hell yeah!
So, but yeah, I mean that's it in a nutshell, man. We we sell T-shirts. We take open donations. We're working on getting more companies involved so that when we do Mo Party in the future and other large events, that I can have things to raffle off.
Awesome.
Whether it's T-shirts, crate engines, you name it. So it's slow going, but we've been very very steady since our inception. So it's a labor of love.
Yeah,
it's something that we all enjoy together. Carly's very involved with, the car and making it more noticeable than I do. And, the funny story is, we took it out for our first event with Marauder Street Hemi Shootout in 2019, set the stock 6.4 records, one apiece. I took the ET record. She took the trap speed, and then within a little bit of time, the YouTube videos, and then it's not he set that, she set that, then it's all that hot chick with the blue 1320 set those records. So it works. She knows how to handle the car better than I do. I mean, she's just been from the get-go very much a natural. That trip, awesome. She'd never drag raced a car before.
Wow.
That was her, that trap speed record was her 6th ever solo pass.
Wow. That's awesome.
So,
she's a natural.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's cut like some 00 lights and
Jesus,
run some cars that should have edged us out, but she got them at the tree. So
there's something there, because there's a lot of bad females out there that can drive the hell out of those cars.
Yeah.
It's really impressive, and she can definitely drive the hell out of that 1320. I am so excited to see that car run at Mo Party, because when I was at Mo Party last year, I was so disappointed that my live streams weren't working. I was depressed, and then I realized when it was all over, I was like, I barely spent any time at the track watching the races because there was so much going on. That
last year I couldn't make a clean pass.
God, what happened last year?
I was out of another shop at the time, and we had done the torque converter, and it took them a month post Mo Party to figure it out. But I suspect dirty fluid was used when they put it back in.
Oh my God!
And the filter was all clogged up, so it would build pressure and shift 1-2, but then it couldn't do 2-3. It would just fall on its face and go in a limbo.
Oh shit!
So, but made the move over to American Muscle, and then picked up working for Scott there. Those boys knocked that car out in 3 days, reran the entire nitrous setup. Yeah, that was just prior to Modern Street Hemi Shootout season opener in March. So they knocked the entire nitrous system, had to be completely ripped out and rewired. Didn't even put the original kit back in. Holly sent me another one, and we put a whole new one in because it was just so improperly done.
Wow.
And so Brandon and Jeremy knocked that all out, tuned it, and went to the shootout on a base tune, and it ran 10-0s consistently all weekend.
Wow.
Without issue.
Wow. Are you going to get some test time before Mo Party?
I mean, if I find the time, hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Sure. Sure.
So we're hoping maybe next weekend we can get it out and get a little bit, because I have some more done some more tuning on it. The tuners tuned it up or turned it up a little bit. So we're hoping to see some 980, 990 time slips maybe.
Fun. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that car run at Mo Party. That'll be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll get an interview with Carly Yeah, we've missed out on her a couple times, so we'll get her at Mo Party. Watch her run the car and hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. Let's get back into this this recap of Speed Week. Bud, why don't you kick things off? And what's your overall thoughts, or what are your overall thoughts over Speed Week and the reveals and stuff that have been happening? Is Bud frozen? I think Bud's frozen.
Bud's frozen.
Either he's frozen or really bored. Bud, we're going to remove you from the chat. You are frozen on screen right now. I'm going to remove you. Jump back in, all right? Moving on to Tommy. Tommy, what do you think about all this?
It's strange.
Yeah.
The Hornet was mentioned earlier, and I've seen a lot of chatter on the Facebook groups about it. And
Sure.
What I think people just don't understand is, they see Dodge doing something a little sportier, whereas maybe they didn't realize Dodge had the Journey, or the minivans, and what they're trying to do is bring that other segment in. What's up, Blake?
How's it going?
What's up, Blake?
They're trying to pull that segment in and take something that is typically very vanilla, sauce it up a little bit, and they have to sell. I think I said it to you the other day. They got to sell that vanilla, in large amounts to fund the low volume fun stuff.
No, and you were 100% right. And as an enthusiast myself, I just kind of sat there and go, "What the hell are you doing?" But of course, when you think of the business end of the things, it only makes sense. But are you back? You're not frozen anymore. I think we got.
I think so. I switched from a wireless connection to wired, and it thought that'd be better, and apparently not. So,
weird.
Going back off wireless again.
All right, sounds good.
Howdy, Blake. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So Tommy, not against the Hornet. You understand why they brought it?
Totally. I mean, and they've done it. I remember if I told this story before, but like my introduction to cars involved an Omni GLHS,
Hell yeah.
and a 66 Plymouth Belvedere. So the old man across the street, when I grew up on the east side of Detroit, his everyday car was a GLHS.
Okay.
And then his Sunday car was this 66 Hemi Belvedere. And as a young child, it scared the hell out of me, because when he would start it, the windows in the house would shake and everything else. But the GLHS was the same thing. It was a mundane car that they turned up, to attract the enthusiast into something that was typically very vanilla. And, they wanted to sell a bunch of them to fund the fun stuff, which back then they didn't have as much of.
Yeah, that was tough.
It makes sense.
Yeah. What about feel about the SRT Banshee? You feel about this EV muscle car?
You're gonna give Tommy an aneurysm.
Let's start with things that you like about it.
Well, I heard you say you didn't like the wheels. I thought they were kind of cool.
Okay, no, see, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If you like those pieces of shit, that's you.
I liked them. I thought they were different.
Yeah,
yes,
sure. They were. Absolutely.
I like the shape. It's a good looking car. I don't mind the availability of electric vehicles.
Okay.
It's the forcefulness that I don't enjoy. I'm very much about freedoms.
And this is where I want to say, we'll jump in with something real quick. And I've had a lot of time to think about this now, and I've rewatched all 3 days of the Speed Week announcements. Tim said on day one that the 2023 model year will be the last of the L model Hemi cars.
So just the L platforms are going away.
Hemi cars.
Oh, okay. I see.
Last of the Hemi cars. So I have a feeling that the i6 Hurricane is going to end up in the current models for 2024 and maybe beyond while they try to get adoption into the electric car. The electric car will end up being, high end, Hellcat Red Eye Demon, super sport pricing range. And then they'll have the i6 twin turbo engines in that platform running out for a few years. That's how when I reread that statement, that's how I read that. I mean, you can't expect everyone to jump from Charger and Challenger, 4-doors and 2-doors, to jump into a fully electric 2-door car. It's just not realistic.
No.
Now I've seen some stuff where it's theorized that the whole lineup is not going to go electric, that there will be like a 50% break of electric and then gas.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any way with that Banshee car that you could make that a gas car. That's built on their large platform skateboard. There's just no way that shape, that car with all those features in it, the R-Wing, the whatever else you want to put into it, there's no way that could be powered by anything other than the 800 volts of pure American muscle.
What about that exhaust?
What do you think about that, Tommy? How do you feel about the exhaust?
I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Because the Teslas, it's weird. And I'll jump on that for a second. Like, I don't hate Teslas. They're not good looking cars in my eyes. They do perform, but for me, it's the community that surrounds them. That is what turns me off, is the Tesla folks.
Yeah. And it's funny too, like the Tesla, people give Dodge so much shit about the Charger and Challenger. Well, they haven't updated those things in so many years. I mean, the Tesla Model S looks the same as it did when it first came out.
100%.
I mean, but how long has it been out now?
And everybody's still buying both of them.
Yeah. I mean,
boring.
The Tesla is definitely jelly bean, though. I mean, man, that car is just, I don't know.
How boring are those cars? Just for as fast as they are, I'm like, God, they're so boring. I've been waiting for this Roadster. Not that I really give a shit about it, but man,
the one with the turbo boosters, the rocket boosters.
I do want to say one thing about this Hurricane. Is it a V6 or inline six? It's a V6, right?
Inline six.
Inline six.
A dozen, half dozen.
That's kind of cool. My only thing about that is, you get all these enthusiasts, hyped up on the way a Hemi V8 sounds. And then you go and you tell us, okay, we're going to give you a Hurricane inline 6 turbocharged. I hope it does not sound like these EcoBoost Fords, because they sound so stupid. My buddy's got a F-150 EcoBoost, and I think he's got Flowmaster Super 10s on it. There's a point where this thing sounds so stupid, I can't even stand it. I'm like, man, there's just something about, I hope it sounds good. It's not going to be a Hemi. It's not going to have that rumble, but I hope they do what they can. It's going to be a tough sell, I think. It's supposed to be powerful, though, from what I understand, which is cool.
Well, if you remember back, they used to do the 225 slant 6.
Yeah. Those things sounded good.
Tons of dudes raced them, too.
Yeah, for sure.
The inline 6 is, I think it's actually going to, talking about how cars sound, the inline 6 will sound good.
I hope so.
It'll sound good. It's half a V12, right? I mean, it's got to sound good.
It'll be interesting. I'm just disappointed that, because we're not going to get another restyling. We're not going to get one more restyling of the Charger and Challenger, are we? They're discontinuing these, and that's it, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Like I said, rereading that statement from Speed Week 1 makes me think that current generation, the current platform, they're going to stretch that out.
Yeah,
they'll throw the Hurricanes in there, continue that. How on earth could you sell just the Banshee? I mean, I know the Challenger is the number one muscle car because the Charger's not involved in those numbers because it's a 4-door car currently. It's a sedan, not a muscle car. But there's just no way that they can continue to just do the Banshee and it completely ignore the 4-door market. It just can't. So Yeah, I'm finally just seeing all the comments pull up in here now. So apparently, I have to buy a new microphone. Apparently, what I'm hearing.
I'm behind. So while you guys are talking, I'm just going through making sure everybody knows I'm showing them some love. We got BigBlock in the house too. Let's bring him in. Matt, what's up, brother?
What's going on, guys?
All right, Tommy, let's hear some more of your opinions on this. So you like the way the car's designed?
I think it's a good looking car.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No bones about that. I mean, it's got that retro thing that they've been doing. And like I said, I'm okay with the availability of electric vehicles. I just don't like the meddling of the feds in everything we do. And the fact that it's kind of being forced.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I read this recently too. So Dodge FCA, Stellantis, whatever you want to call it, in 2019 through 2021 paid $2.4 billion to buy carbon credits because they were below the numbers of where they needed to be for both European and U.S. market. That's not sustainable.
No, no, hell no.
I mean, that's not sustainable.
The government has no more money to bail anybody out.
No.
You know what I want to know, though, is everybody's upset about this electric thing. Why are they not upset about the chopping of the roof? A convertible Challenger?
I wasn't a fan.
I as a boulevard cruiser, or you're back, just go into cars and coffee shit. I see the appeal in the car. I totally get it.
You're not 65 yet, man.
I feel like it some days. I wake up some mornings and I'm like, man, I'm old. But I totally. Well, you look at your Tommy, you've got a Challenger. You're the young man in that Challenger game.
Wow.
The Challenger definitely skews a little bit on the older side. And I totally get it. With the anyone that's going to go race the car, drive it hard, that convertible is the absolute wrong way to go. Absolute wrong way to go. But I'm actually kind of surprised that Dodge even put their stamp of approval on that to begin with. That kind of surprised me that they would do that, because they're taking a Solzall to the car, for Christ's sake.
I will say the company that does them does a nice job. I mean, it looks like it came from the factory. They're clean. They're done right. But
yeah,
you're going to see more of those damn things in Florida than anywhere else.
Well, that's where they all are now. Yeah, we've got like one here in Minnesota, maybe two. I actually saw one yesterday on the road here in Minnesota.
You guys still got snow up there?
Probably tomorrow, not today.
Oh, that's funny. So Tommy, overall, was Speed Week for Dodge a hit or a miss? Your opinion?
I think the only thing that kind of, for me, it saved it is the price on the bodies in white, and seeing that they're still pushing things like the drag pack for $89K. For the guys that have the money, it's a cool starting point. To see that they're still somewhat in the grassroots game. I'd like to see cheaper options.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that program. From my understanding, is once the plants close down and stop pressing those bodies, though, that's the end of it. But I'd like to see that stay in.
Yeah.
I never even thought about taking one of those bodies in white and then going to Copart or whatever and finding a wrecked car. That's actually a smart way to go, because that's when you go to Copart and you get one of those wrecked things, unless you have a donor vehicle, that's probably the second biggest expense, is going, okay, now I need to source all the body panels and parts to get it together. So that's your easiest option. You get it all in one shot. Boom. There you go.
Yeah. Are the feds listening? If not, you can just VIN swap it onto that one. You're good to go. You're just totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's kind of like Dynacorn. It's considered in some states it's considered a replacement part. So you can go to your service station, you go to your local dealer, buy it with a Mopar part number. So that's how Dynacorn gets away with that in some states. It's not a car, it's a replacement body.
Just replacement everything, but no
replacement part.
Shit. All right.
Yeah, so not all states. Some states are a little sharper than that, but yeah, you say, oh, it's got a replacement body. Here's my Mopar part number and my receipt. Thank you very much. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
If you could prove that you bought the body legitimately, and you're not, I mean, you have, okay, I have a legitimate, I bought this wrecked car from auction, right? This is legitimate. I have the paperwork. Here's a replacement body from the manufacturer that makes these vehicles. It's a little bit less of a strenuous fight, I guess, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think Dodge is really trying to do what they can with what they got. So I'll give them that. You know, as much hate as I threw at the Hornet, once the smoke settled a little bit and my anger subsided, I mean, if they're going to do it, they might as well do it how Dodge would do it. And I think they're doing the best they can. I think the power shot's funny, though. Seeing a little Hornet hit that extra 25. that's pretty
They're used to playing video games where they can do that, right?
Yeah.
Hitting the power turbo boost button, you know.
Wait, does it actually have a turbo boost button?
Yes.
Now
they call it a power shot. It's like on the RT and GLH or whatever. GLH, I can't keep track of it. But there's a power shot button on it. Same thing with the Banshee. They give you like 15 seconds of extra power. I think is what it is. So yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So when Asian Cop Jesus is chasing you on the
Asian Cop Jesus
of St. Paul, yeah, he's in the comments right now. When he starts getting behind you and trying to chase you through the streets, you can hit your turbo boost button and get away from him.
Yeah. But how do you feel about Speed Week and everything we saw?
Man, it took me through a roller coaster of emotions. So I actually got kind of choked up on Monday when I thought, like, man, they're actually killing all this off. I mean, for how much time I've had invested in this platform, when I bought my first Magnum in like 2007, it just, I've raced my kids with these cars. My daughter learned how to drive in the Magnum, like all this stuff, and it's like, this is coming to an end. And it just kind of hit me like, damn. And then you get this kind of like melancholy feeling, and then they hit you with the Hornet, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to be excited about this? You just told me you're killing off the Hemi and the Challenger and Charger, and this is the piece of shit you're giving me? I mean, I'm sure it's a fine car. I own a Jeep. I own a 2022 Jeep Compass, which is on the same damn platform. So, like, I probably would have bought a Hornet if it was available when I got the, Compass. But anyway,
sure.
Like, that's not the replacement for a Charger and a Challenger. That is a throwaway consumer commuter car, right? So I felt somewhat redeemed on day 3, but it's still like Tommy was saying, where's the options? But that's why going back and rereading and rewatching how he mentioned it, saying the last of the L-bodied Hemi cars, made me think that body style will go on beyond 2023 just without the Hemis. So that's my prediction.
The L platform is going away, and they're keeping some of the Hemis.
Yeah, with how much they're getting beat over the heads with the emissions and carbon credits and all that bullshit, and especially with the power performance levels, 500 horsepower, 475 torque with the twin turbo Hurricane, that kind of knocks you out of 5.7 territory for sure.
Yeah.
That's technically higher than the 392 in stock form. To me, those two engines are gone. There's just no way you would keep those two around if you have a car that's getting, an engine that's getting 15-20% better fuel efficiency versus, especially when you're getting beat over the head, you got to raise these numbers up. So.
I talked about it in the early days of the podcast. I think it was March after I started. And the rumor at that time was that the 5.7 was going bye-bye and this 6-cylinder was going to come out. And the 5.7 stuck around and the 6-cylinder never showed up. So, and that was, 3 years ago or something like that. So it's definitely interesting.
Well, the Hurricane shows up now in the Jeep. Like if you go build yourself a Grand Wagoneer on the Jeep website, they actually show the higher horsepower version a step above the 392, and it's a $2,000 option to get it because it has a higher horsepower, higher torque numbers than but it's running like some insane number of boost. I mean, I thought it was like 26 pounds of boost, 28 pounds of boost.
Oh my god!
I can dig it.
Yeah, well, I know that's what so that's the question. You're obviously the engine's built for boost. Then, how much more boost is on the table? Can you turn that wick up before you start blowing shit up?
Oh man, yeah. And to do that, you're gonna have to void a warranty unless Direct Connection's got something up their sleeve. But
I mean, I would say that 9 out of 10 guys that are actually, doing the performance stuff on their cars
don't give a shit.
They're way past warranty.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, they'll try to put it back to stock after they break it and bring it back in. I don't know what happened, but
That's one thing I did like about them announcing the Direct Connection stuff, that it will not void the warranty. I like that, but every factory aftermarket part should be that way. So, I mean, not too big of a surprise there.
How much are you going to actually get with that Direct Connection stuff for, the guys with the scat packs and even the Hellcats?
Gosh,
you keep your warranty and you're getting, I hate to say it, watered down can tunes.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going to be safe tunes. There's no question.
Sure.
Well, I mean, even at what we put out, I mean, tunes are safe, but it's just the handheld with the can tune for an intake and exhaust and
conservative.
Yeah, I'm impressed they're doing anything for the 392, being how delicate that fucking engine is. So,
I mean, I'm a believer, man.
Yeah,
but yours is built. That's a difference.
I'm on a stock bottom end.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
I missed that detail the last time we talked about your car. Holy shit!
Everything below the heads is bone stock, man.
Wow. Wow.
Well, how much boost are you running?
I'm running a whole handful of spray.
Oh, that's right.
So, but I mean, it's
crazy.
I'm running.
I don't know why, but I always flip yours and John's car back and forth with my head for some reason in the performance side stuff.
I need to get John. Me and John, we need to meet up there halfway because we are. Now, I haven't seen any quarter mile times from him.
Yeah, he's always 8 mile.
He's stuck on the 8th mile out west. But our 8th mile times we're like this back and forth. So he and I have talked pretty extensively about trying to meet up somewhere this season. So, and then Jason, I was supposed to grudge him last year at Mo Party, and both our cars were stuck behind bad tunes and gremlins and everything else. So hopefully this year, his is up and running good. Mine's running good. We should, he and I should be able to meet at Mo Party, and he's a Pro Charge car also.
Yeah.
So Pro Charge versus nitrous, and we'll see what it do.
Jonny Mopar.
Well. If it isn't Mr. Mopar.
Sorry. Get your shit together, Johnny. But what are your overall thoughts on the Banshee?
I like it. Like I said, we were talking about off air a little bit. It concerned me a little bit at first that they were benchmarking it and talking about it against the Hellcat. Oh, it'll be faster than the Hellcat. We benchmarked this against the Hellcat. No, the Hellcat. Like, in the EV space, Hellcat doesn't mean shit. That's not, it's the Tesla Plaid. That's the Lucid Air Dream Performance. Those are the two that you have to be chasing if you're talking EV performance. Those are the two top dogs. To not mention them at the time kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, if you guys, come out here and we're supposed to be Dodge, supposed to be this badass, super performance made us do it, and it's slower than Plaid. What the fuck are you doing? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it doesn't. So But like I said, as I kind of worked my way through my rage of emotions on all this stuff, I started to think about it and go like, well, who are they talking to? They're in Detroit. They're on Woodward. They're not going to bring up Tesla, which is a non-union company. They're not going to bring up Tesla, which is built in California. It's not a normal car company. It's not a Detroit car. And they're talking to Dodge fans. Of course they're not going to talk about the Tesla. They're going to talk about something they know as a performance metric, which is the Hellcat. Now, they could have said Demon, but they didn't. But
that's disappointing.
I think that's kind of their sacred cow, but that's okay.
Gosh.
That's fine.
It's their sacred cow, but I mean, if you're talking about ushering this new era of, electrification, you might as well just aim for the biggest dog of the bunch. Because if I had if all I cared about was how fast my car was, and I had a Demon, and I found out that this electric car was coming out and it could smoke my Demon, and I was all about performance, and I just wanted a car that was the fastest, I'd be out to get one of these Banshees.
Right. And I did do some digging a little bit. I couldn't get a clear sense of how many volts the Tesla Plaid's running, but I did see the Lucid Air says that their system is a 900 volts.
Oh, really?
So, and that's
the price
their
point on that
1100 horsepower thing. What was that, Ty?
What's the price point on that Lucid?
170,000.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Yeah. What the fuck? What are we even doing here?
And what are the Plaids at?
I think the Plaids are pretty close to that. I think they're in the 140, 160,000. I'm not, I haven't gone to a Tesla deal. Oh, they don't have dealerships. Never mind. I haven't priced out a Tesla in probably 5-10 years, but just to see where they were at. But I would imagine, it's hard to compare those, right? Because Tesla and how much self-driving shit is a Dodge going to have in it? I don't know. They're probably going to have some level of autonomous driving in that thing, just because that's where we're at now these days. But like a Hellcat is way faster than a lot of Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, so those kind of caliber cars that cost way more than those cars do. So I imagine that the Dodge could still be performance-wise, still be priced at a point where it's cheaper yet faster, but people go, well, it's a Dodge, who cares? Could be wrong. I could be wrong. You never know. The Banshee with, the 800 volt system with the direct connection turned to 9, maybe that's 140,000. I mean, that wouldn't. I mean, you look at what Demon sold for with dealer markup, that puts in that territory. So,
how do you feel about the exhaust, the Fratsonic chambered exhaust?
Well, like I said, I get on off air too. It's to me, it's weird. It's if it's amplified noise that it's picking up from the actual system making things, I can kind of get behind it.
Yeah.
But if there's any we've created a track that sounds half like a lion roaring and part of a Hellcat and some unicorn sounds in there, whatever, I shut it off. Give me the George Jetson soundtrack instead. I mean, seriously. And like my comparison is like when they introduced the car from the horse and buggy, they didn't make the first cars go down the street dropping horse manure as they drove down the street, just because they let that go. We can. It's not part of the process. It doesn't need to be there, and I don't know. Dodge doesn't do anything else fake. That's the weird thing about this. That's why. I hope it's amplified of the noise that the car is actually making to begin with, but
it's supposed
even to that is kind of like, if you can shut it off, then it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
It's my opinion.
Supposedly it pushes air and everything. You can put your hand up to it and you can actually feel it pulsating, from what I understand. I know Bill Adams is in the chat, and he said he talked to Mike Musto, who wouldn't bullshit anybody. And he said it's legit.
He's a pretty straight shooter.
How do you we haven't talked about this yet, the shifting in this thing. So all electric cars are one gear, except for what is said to be the Banshee that has the ability to, I guess, shift gears. But from what I understand, it really doesn't have gears. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing with that.
It's probably like a Xbox controller gear shift. Yeah, they're moving it. It's not really doing anything. You're just moving it.
Right. It's basically holding. It's slowing you down as you get to a theoretical shift point, right? So you're slightly slowing down, and then it goes, "Oh, we should shift now." Hit him with full power, right? It gives you that fakeness. Again, I imagine you could program that out. Don't give me that shit. I want to go fast in a straight line.
Yeah.
I don't need to shift. Like if you're actually going to drag race it, why would you want that? You wouldn't want that. No, I want it. Just give me the linear, 10% tire slip the whole way through. I want to go. Just let me go, and don't give me the shift points. I mean,
so do you hold the button if you're going to drag race it?
There is on the if you look at the pictures of the Banshee of the interior, there is a button it's called like power launch or some crap like that, or power something, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But there is and on the Hornet RT and GLH, there's a button you press to get your little extra boost. You first have to turn the dial to 11, and then you get your boost.
Oh man, is it just me, or does that thing just seem like it has too much gimmicky shit on it? It seems like it's too full of gimmicks. Way too gimmicky. It's all right.
It's a concept, though. It's meant to get people excited about it. Sure. It's kind of like
a Tesla.
I mean, it's also. I mean, you got to realize, like when they relaunched the Camaro, they built an entire movie around it called Transformers.
Yeah, man, that's what everybody talks about.
Around the Dodge, it's called Fast and Furious.
Yeah. Well, everybody's been talking about the sound from the movie The Wraith. With Charlie Sheen, which I think is funny because I watched that movie all the time as a kid because I'm a huge fan of the M4S. I think it's funny. So Dutch guys mentioned the exhaust note is from the Wraith, but apparently from what I understand, this is just the natural sound of this propulsion system just amplified. That's the way I understand it.
I would believe that if it wasn't for the fact the car is sitting still and they still get a rev noise.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Chris about this. Like, so did they dump it into neutral and like?
But even then, the electric motors wouldn't be doing anything if it's.
Well, still. I know. That's what I was trying to figure. Like, it's making. I don't.
It's like they're disengaged or something.
Can you not rev a car with your foot on the brake?
Well, the problem of it is like
it didn't look like that was happening though. It was smooth through.
The drive. Yeah, it was definitely smooth through. Was it you, Bud, that told me there was a pedal that you could control the sound?
I wasn't, but he did mention we have a loud pedal, and I almost wonder, is there a third pedal, and it's just the noise pedal you're making?
God. Oh my god! Wow.
Some kid dad is going to have one of those, and they're going to find an old Mopar, and they're going to be like, it's got an exhaust pedal.
Oh,
we call those manual, son.
An exhaust pedal. That's totally what it's going to end up being. I like that.
Oh shit!
My god!
It's be the dimmer switch. They'll get an incentive. Look at the dimmer switch.
They finally brought it back, just not how we wanted it.
Oh, that's funny.
Shit.
Let's keep it rolling a little bit, Blake. How do you feel about Speed Week and all the recent announcements from Dodge? What are your opinions?
I think I think about it a little bit differently. Okay. Take it from the standpoint of you are maybe not quite the smallest, but you're low end of the totem pole of the big three, probably, right?
Yeah.
I think you're really gaining in the truck space. So, I mean, you can't say they're the underdog anymore, but you're the lowest guy on a totem pole in Detroit. You're fighting like hell to stay alive, right?
Yeah.
They're doing things that no other manufacturer is doing. GM doesn't care. Ford doesn't care. They're like, yep, we're going all electric. Who cares? And at least they're trying, I would say, right? So look at the whole thing in a nutshell, right? You have some stuff that no one has ever done before. GM has never said, hey, we're going to start and come back with carbon fiber 69 Camaro bodies.
Yeah.
They're not going to come and say, hey, let's put this ludicrous amount of effort into like an EV, right? They just want to literally pay the light bill. That's all they care about. So if you look at the EV car with its ridiculously long name, Look at it in general. I mean, a lot of people are selling their soul, but at least they're trying to stick true to something, right? The noise. You mentioned the noise. How many people go out and buy a car and put exhaust on it and make it louder and amplify the sound?
That's true.
People enjoy it. They do it because they like it. If it's the speaker, okay, well, that's...
yeah. That was my biggest. Yeah. If it's a speaker and this is 100% artificial, it's bullshit. I don't want it.
Right.
Well, let's think about it, okay? So if it's actually coming from the propulsion system, which they say it does, why not let people hear it? I mean, why do we put loud exhaust on a car? We say it's for performance, but I can tell you right now, if you're putting the Flowmaster 40 series on anything, you're hurting your performance, right? You just want the loud noise, right? I've done dyno tests back to back, and I've not seen good gains. I've seen loss of like 10 to 12 horsepower on average putting a 40 series on a car. It sounds great.
Worth it. Completely worth it.
Well, there you go, Johnny. So, it's a sound thing, right? It's a preferential thing, I'm all about form and function and not being fake, right? I mean, for the same reason we don't like cars with Hellcat badges on a GT, right? It's, what are you doing? Like, no. But we see it all the time, right? You see it and it's like, oh my God, that's ridiculous, right? But look at the simplistic fact that no other automotive manufacturer has even tried to please their customer base as much as Dodge has, right?
You're correct.
They're trying, right? The Hornet, I think that's complete garbage, but
but it's a commuter car. I think
it serves a point. It serves a purpose, right? And look what the Neon did in the 90s. I don't think anyone loves a Neon, right? I don't think so.
Oh, I was gonna say, you give me a Neon ACR, I'll be a happy camper.
Okay, I'm talking about bottom of the barrel.
Fuck them.
The espresso.
The most vanilla, the pumpkin spice latte of Neons, right?
If Jovita was in here, she'd be kicking your ass.
Seriously. Right?
She's listening right now.
Use RT or ACR or SRT.
You have to differentiate, because if you call an SRT4 a Neon, you will get crucified. Okay? I've learned that. There's a difference, right? But look at the holistic picture. It kept Chrysler alive. The K cars kept Chrysler alive to where they could come to a point where they eventually made Challengers and Chargers again, Hellcats again, right? What really got me excited about Speed Week is not really so much what was going on in the building, but what was outside the building. Did you see the big rig with the cars on it?
Yeah.
Did any of you see the close-up pictures of them?
No.
Okay. So I had a friend of mine who's actually there, and I was getting pictures from him directly. And if you actually look...
Thanks for sharing those.
Yeah, I sent them to you, Chris. I sent them to you. You got them.
Oh, that's right. We were actually talking about that. That's right.
We're trying to...
Oh, now we remember.
My bad.
Man. So, and Chris, I don't know if you could do a screen, pull it up on the screen. You know you have the pictures, but I don't know if you can or not. But regardless, there's 7 cars on this car carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other manufacturer I can almost guaranteed would have been like, yep, we're done pulling the plug. See you later. Look what Chevrolet did with the Camaro in 2002. Bye. I had one. I had an SS. Loved it. Bye. Done. Pull the plug. Dodge is going out in fashion. If you look at all the car covers on those 7 specific models that are coming out, it has a few things. One, it has a release date. Second, it has the displacement. And third, it has a number, which I assume, just me, is going to be a production number, how many they're going to make of each.
That's right. That's right. We were talking about this, yeah.
Okay. So first off, on the trailer, in the very front of the trailer, you have 6.4 cars. So you have 392 cars. Limited edition 392 cars. So you have one in kind of like this crazy black with red pinstriping. It's a 6.4 car, some sort of special edition. And I think it had like 3,000 as the number, right? It had a release date, and I'm assuming 3,000 units you're going to make of that. And as you progress towards the end of the trailer, you're seeing some really cool stuff, right? So next up in line, you have these two cars above and below that are in this floral print, kind of like the mod tops from back in the day, right?
That was my guess.
They're both 6.4s, right? 1,000 units, so just 1,000 of them, I assume, are going to be produced. Because they're the same floral print car cover, I'm assuming, one is a Charger, one is a Challenger. The body shapes match, right? So you're like, the one on top's the Charger, the one on the bottom's a Challenger variant. So there's going to be some sort of a special edition with the 6.4. Moving on to the back of the trailer, at the very tail end, you see two that are very, very much heightening of my awarenesses. Like this is what's piquing my interest. You have two that are marked displacement 6.2 HO, high output. Okay?
I missed
They
that.
have a unit count of 300 each.
Interesting.
So the one at the top has, I'm assuming is a Charger based on the silhouette, kind of the outline of it. It has the crowns like imprinted all over the car cover, which matches the roll-up door on one of the garage, Dodge Garage 24 months.
The never lift.
Right?
Yeah.
So that matches, right? And I think the date on that is sometime in September. So that's, I think, like the 21st or 4th, something like that. And then directly beneath it is a Challenger, pretty obviously, 6.2 high output, 300 units, same date of release, and it has like this black and gray car cover on it. So I think that they are going to really try to go all out, and then from there they're going to progress forward. So I think you're going to see a smaller car come out. So they're going to venture into the 4 doors because they sold so many Chargers, you guys.
Yeah.
Utilitarian. It is what it is. But I think they're going to drop down to some sort of a platform that they have in common with the Stellantis chain, just like they did with the Hornet. I think they're going to have something good, crazy horsepower that's going to be gas powered, like the Hurricane engine. But again, EV was cool. That's nice. I was really focused on what was on the trailer outside. I guess just being a car guy looking at the numbers. Well, one last thing to say about the EV is, you got to do something, right? Your back's kind of against the wall. But why not do it with flavor and style? 100%. I think that's all part of it, man. I think that's part of it. I don't know. It's not... I don't think it's going to kill anything, man. I don't think it's going to hurt.
I was very curious about that trailer stuff. What was that, Tommy?
I was saying, as long as if they're giving us K cars, as long as we get a Spirit RT.
Yeah, right.
I just want my first Mopar back. My first authentic Mopar I ever had, a Chrysler Conquest. You can't get much Mopar than that.
So one last thing I want to talk about is, you talk about the comparative between the new Banshee and the Hellcat. It's like, why do they compare it to Hellcat? Well, in my mind, if I were giving a similar presentation, it's your target audience, you guys.
Yep.
So I would not go in front of diehard Mopars and talk about speed as something that relates to a completely different field or interest, right? I wouldn't go out there and be like, hey, this new EV is as fast as a Mercury 225 two-stroke or something like that. Whatever it is. Like, that's irrelevant. It's your,
That's true.
I get EV, you want to compare it to another EV. I get that sentiment, but if you're in a room full of people who love the Hellcat, and it's the king, you're saying, hey, we're going to topple the king of your demographic, right?
That makes sense.
So that's just the way I look at it. Maybe I'm an optimist.
It took me a day or two to get there, but I agree with you. It took me why would you? But yeah, I agree with you. It took me a day to get there, but yeah.
It took me days, but I feel what you're saying. Yeah, as far as the Hellcat goes, it it makes sense that it's the benchmark, because that back in 2015 was like, holy shit. You know, the Hellcat came out and it was the king, with the exception of these special editions that came out. You know, now you got your super stock and then you had the Demon. But the Hellcat has always been like the staple of everything. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm curious, man. The back of that car trailer, again, the EV, that's cool. That's great and all. Bringing back the Durango, I know they sold out of the Hellcat Durangos and they couldn't make enough of them, but the back of the trailer is really what I'm excited about. A high output Hellcat, something crazy, stupid fast. Yeah. That's what's going to be cool.
I was under the wrong impression, man. I feel robbed, because that they were going to have announced what those cars were during Speed Week. I didn't realize it was only going to be 3 days worth of stuff. I wasn't paying that close of attention. So yeah, I feel robbed a little bit, because I was like, man, what the hell? But I mean, that's how they're building anticipation. So I guess that's cool. I just feel like it was a tease. I was like, come on, man. He's going to put it up there and not let me see what's going on. But it pulls attention, and it's going to hold their attention, because now they want to know what's under those. And I hope Dodge has some more up their sleeve, and I'm really curious to see how true to the concept this Banshee or this Charger stays, and how muted the low end versions are going to be, because they showed us the top line, what they imagine the top line will be. So you know, he said that I think he said something about there being a few different levels, and Opportunity is going to be the very, you know, the high car. So we'll see. But we've got a couple more guys in here that I want to get their opinions. Matt first. We got the old school Mopar guy, Jonny Mopar, in the corner. We're gonna wait to talk to you last, Johnny.
Sounds good. I have some opinions.
I know you do. I can't wait. Matt, what is on Speed Week, all the releases, and of course this EV?
Well, I'm pretty excited for the bodies in white, to be honest.
Okay.
Because like we were saying, I mean, that could be an easy, inexpensive way to get. I won't say they use the word easy, change that, but I mean, that could be a way for somebody to get into a Challenger cost effectively, I guess. Not time effective, but definitely cost effective. The electric, I really think the sound was just a big gimmick, and they're hoping it might catch on. I mean, I saw the same thing on Pit My Ride back in the day. They put it under a minivan. It was a speaker. But here's the thing. It was tied into the throttle position sensor. So the more gas you gave it, the more intense the sound got. And they're like, you can make this sound wherever you want, and it will increase the RPMs of the sound. Now, granted, it was a gimmick, and they took it off. Like, they did most of the stuff on that show. But, so, like I said, I feel like the sound was gimmicky. I really dig the design of the car.
Yeah.
I think they nailed the futuristic look for it while paying honor to the past generations.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed the picture to some people at work that aren't car people, and they thought it was a great looking car. I mean, if it's in the price point of like the Plaid, I looked it up. The Plaids were like $134.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Plaids are like $134.
It's not bad.
It's not horrible,
Not
but
bad.
I mean,
For what it is, I mean,
whatever it is.
I mean, but I'm just saying look at what they're charging for Hellcats and stuff right now.
Yeah.
So I mean,
$100K for a top end one.
yeah. So I mean, $134,000 for the next generation all electric Hellcat killer. I mean, that doesn't sound outrageous now in comparison, but I mean, it's well outside my budget.
Yeah.
But I really wish they'd hurry up and do something with the Hurricane 6. As Blake and Chris and Johnny know, I'm a huge Slant 6 guy. I kept the one out of my Duster just because I like the engine, I like the platform. I mean, and I like pretty much everybody that's ever listened to me talk about this stuff. I'm really new to the car market and to the car game, like compared to everybody else sitting here right now. So I mean, my opinion is what it is, but I mean, I'm excited for what they're going to try. At least they're trying, like Blake said.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, like Ford. I think they copied what Ford did with the Broncos, where they had all the aftermarket parts that were Ford certified and didn't void your warranty on the new Bronco. So I mean, that's what they're doing with the direct connection stuff. It's not a bad gimmick because I mean, look how hot those Fords are selling, and you can't get them. Like I know this is the wrong show, but I'm just saying, like in comparison, it's a hard to get car or vehicle,
Sure.
and I mean they're popping up everywhere. So
that's true. It's like one day that like around here, it was like one day, one showed up at a dealership. The next day, it seemed like everybody and their mom has a new Bronco. I see them almost as much as I see JK Wranglers around here. It's crazy.
Look, you can't throw a rock without hitting a Charger or a Challenger in my neck of the woods. You can't. And it's getting the same way with these new Broncos. So I mean, the fact that Dodge is kind of copying that and going with the direct connections, this doesn't void your warranty, but is a performance part. That's exciting. Because I mean that opens up a whole avenue for these guys that already have purchased their product.
Yeah.
Well, Bronco also did Ford did. I don't know if you want to call it smart or devious, but you've got the Bronco, and then you've got the Bronco Sport, which is just the Ford Escape with a fancy Bronco nose on it or whatever.
I have made a movie about that in the 80s. It was Arnold
Face Off,
and another guy. It was like called Twins or something. Where there was like,
that's the one.
So
I could go on a whole Ford rant about how stupid that stuff is. Like,
so I have a theory.
It's the Sport, right? And it's more expensive than the Bronco. No, it's the shittier one. Oh, got it. Okay.
No, so I have a theory about that. I think the Bronco Sport was what they were going to give us, and then they saw GM shit the bed with the Blazer, and they're like, "You all get back there and fix this." Because
I'll jump in on that one. So we're getting this Hornet, so we can go back to this mundane daily driver.
Yeah,
Ford is knocking it out with the Maverick.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's true.
So I'm looking to get rid of my daily. I daily drive a Kia because until recently I drove a shit ton of miles.
Yeah.
And I started looking at these Mavericks. You can't find them.
Oh no, you can't.
No.
I have yet to see one on a dealership lot.
Yeah, I got a buddy who sells Fords, and he said they just are about to open ordering, and he said be prepared. If you order, you're probably going to wait 9 months.
Yep.
Jeez.
I drive past the largest volume Ford dealer. I believe it's the largest volume Ford dealer in my state. It basically, this whole named Snohomish was basically built around this dealership, and I have not seen one on their lot. So, and I think I've only on the street, surprisingly, but they sell the trucks and Broncos like hotcakes there.
So one thing I'm interested to see is if the two others of the big three will follow Ford's lead and start to do away with the dealership model.
Oh yeah, I did read about that.
Ford's doing away with the dealership model, and they're going to sell directly to their consumers. Mainly, what they're blaming is the markups that occurred with the Broncos, because people were ordering their Broncos, they'd get to the dealership, and the dealership would mark them up to like six figures.
Jesus Christ, so crazy.
So Ford said, "Okay, we told you guys not to do this. You did it. You're done." Is the gist of what they're trying to blame it on? I think they're just trying to muscle out having to share their profits and the sales.
It would be interesting to me though. How do they plan on servicing these vehicles if they're going to circumvent the dealerships on selling them? I mean,
I think what they'll do. I think what they'll do is they'll leave the dealers as certified service centers. I mean, it's going to be a tough gamble. Like I said, it's going to be a real interesting time.
That'll be interesting to watch that play out because not. I mean, you look at the dealership networks going to their lobbyists and blocking Tesla from selling direct in their states.
Yeah.
And now they got Ford wanting to do it. That's going to be an interesting. That'll be an interesting move. But Dodge, Ford doesn't do anything that makes sense. I mean, we've got the Mustang Mach-E and the Ford Lightning, both electric. So they clearly don't do anything that makes sense.
The only thing Ford does right every now and then, and this is going to give me some hate, is their special edition Mustangs. I think they knocked out of the park with the Mach 1 coming back, and I really enjoyed the Bullet remake. I love it.
The Bullets have always been pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the Bullet.
I'll sign up and I'll take a 350, the GTR or whatever the 350R or whatever that one is.
Yeah.
I'll take that one. No problems. No questions asked.
I mean,
okay. All right. This is talking fucking Mopars, okay? So now I have to throw the Hail Mary and go, Jonny Mother Mopar is in the building. Jonny, what are your big block thoughts about Dodge and all this new shit?
440 swap the world, man. Fuck it all. So I heard you guys talking earlier about you don't think that they're going to completely kill off the old performance or gas engines, right? Did I hear that right? I think Bud was saying that.
If I were reading between the lines, I got the quote of what Tim Kuniska said during Speed Week Day 1. It says, the 2023 model year will be the last of the L model Hemi cars.
Okay.
I think it's just that. I think it's been around since 2005 or 6.
It could be the L model car, but I think it's the Hemi that's going to get the axe, just because they've got the Hurricanes as the new engines that have higher efficiencies and higher horsepower levels. But that's my opinion and my guess.
Could be.
Well, so if they're not going to kill off performance car, the only thing I'm pissed off about is if they're going to kill off gas engine performance, especially from the way politics are going and kind of forcing EV cars on us and stuff. That part pisses me off. If those cars are going to die, they should die because the market doesn't want them anymore. It shouldn't be driven by politics or politicians or government or even corporations. And if the corporation is going to kill it off and their market dies because of it, then they deserve to die. So correct. That's how I feel about the gas engines. I don't want to see them go away. I want to see the performance stay. Now let's push that aside. As far as the electric cars, I think the new electric car is great. I think that this is uncharted territory. I think it's a blank canvas. I think I'm tired of hearing people talk about the freaking Tesla and how fast it is on the track. And it's like, it's a fucking, commuter car. It's like plain Jane. There's nothing sexy about it. I mean, the Model S is the best thing they got. Every other electric car they have looks like crap to me. Every single electric car that's ever been built looks like shit. Toyota was like the first one to build electric car that actually, even though it's a commuter car, it is what it is. It was the first car that actually looked decent. Like, at least it looks like a freaking car. Doesn't look like a little Cracker Jack box that's, super aero and it's a piece of crap, Finally, Dodge is coming out with a muscle car electric car. Nobody else makes it. I say it's a blank canvas. I say it looks good too. And personally, I don't feel like it's in competition with, say, Hellcats. I think it's a different front. In an example, it's like you have trucks and you have Chargers and Challengers. Now, you could say trucks are in competition with those cars, but I don't think they are. I think it's a different plane. It's a different playing field. And I think the electric car is also going to be a different playing field, even though it is going to be on a muscle car, styling or stance or, that kind of market. I think it's going to be really expensive at first. So I don't think people are going to go rushing into that and abandon, like Hellcats and stuff like that. The third thing I want to ask all the viewers in there, so about the exhausts and whether it's speakers or not. If you guys if you're good with fake boobs, I want you to put a thumbs up in the comments. If you do not like fake boobs, put a thumbs down. So I'm curious how people feel about fake.
I mean, I'm fine either way.
There's nothing wrong with bolt-ons, man.
That's a Cali guy talking right there. That's
so. I mean, if it was like a Hellcat and it was fake exhaust with speakers, I would not be happy with it. But again, with the electric car, I think it's a blank canvas, and I think you have a lot of freedom to just try a bunch of shit. It's silly, but I have a buddy that has a Tesla, and it's like, you got the freaking touch screen on the car, and you can do all kinds of goofy stuff with it. You could put in different sounds a car makes, or I don't know. It's just goofy stuff, and I think go for it. you know what? If people don't like it, they will, through their decisions in buying, they will decide that, you know, they're going to reject that feature, especially if they charge extra for it. You want the sound option or not, you know?
Oh, like BMW and the heated seats?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Those motherfuckers, dude.
Got to pay a subscription fee to keep your ass warm. Really?
Hey, I don't think we're safe from that on this Banshee. It made me think that, like, all the modes they show, donut mode and burn, it made me think that you had to direct connection to get those assets in your car. So we're going to rely on Blake to find a way to hack it so we can out the car.
Yeah, well, definitely. Actually, Blake, that we're gonna have to get you one of those cars just so you can rip into it, figure out what you can hack, dude.
I'm game.
There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about this show, you know where to go, talkingmopars.com. And you can reach me by emailing Chris at talkingmopars.com or by leaving me a voicemail on my voicemail box at 209-28-MOPAR, and you just might get to hear yourself on the show. So keep sharing your Mopar stories with me and everything else that is on your Mopar-addicted mind. Special thanks to my friends over at Car Tech Books. If you are looking to level up your knowledge on cars, head on over to cartechbooks.com. I am a huge ambassador of automotive literature, and Car Tech Books has so many titles to choose from that there is definitely something for everyone, no matter what types of cars or trucks you are into. The books are all fantastic reads, and you'll probably even learn a thing or two as well. So go check out cartechbooks.com and see what they have to offer. Another special thanks to my friends over at DIYHemi.com. If you've been considering swapping a modern Gen 3 Hemi into your classic Mopar, then give my friends over at DIY Hemi a shout and tell them that I sent you. They've supported me from the beginning of this show, and I also support them in their mission to Hemi swap the world. Also, don't forget how important it is to keep your Mopar protected from the elements. If you need protection for your Mopar, don't wait. Head on over to TalkingMopars.com, click on the Affiliates tab, and go get your Mopar covered today. Before we shut this podcast down, if you want some Talking Mopars merchandise like t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and cool swag like that, check out the merch shop on TalkingMopars.com. And for exclusive bonus episodes and videos only for my supporters, become a Facebook supporter today and get immediate access to those benefits. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.
Do you know somebody who won't wear their seatbelt? Well, if they won't listen to their cars dinging, maybe you should add some of your own.
Ding, 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 ding.
Go ahead,
ding,
kids. Chime
ding.
in.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hey, you on the street, tell this guy to wear a seatbelt.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep, it's okay to speak up. Because you know what? You could save their life. Learn more at buckleupva.com. A message from the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles.